What is up, everybody? Jeremy Eisenfire here, and welcome to the channel. One thing the TV series From is definitely known for, and has no shortage of, is big mysteries and questions that are left unanswered. From all of the mythology and symbolism that they throw at us, and all of the heavy foreshadowing of events to come. One thing's for sure is there is an abundance of mysteries and questions for us to dive into and try and figure out together. And that is exactly what we are going to do tonight on one of From's most mysterious aspects, the intro sequence. That is right, today we are going to dive into From's infamous intro sequence and see if we can decipher what exactly some of these drawings mean, if we have already seen some of these events on the show, and which ones are still yet to come. One thing you notice pretty early on watching From is the beginning intro sequence is incredibly unique. And then, once you get a few episodes in, you slowly start to realize that these pictures are not random at all. They are showcasing actual events that are going to happen on the show. So let's dive in and translate as many of these drawings as we can and see what has already happened and what events are still left to come. One thing about the drawings on the From intro sequence is some of them are pretty easy to translate and some of them are much more cryptic. Up first, we have a car arriving at the downed tree, the same tree that everybody sees when they first arrive in Fromville, and of course, the crows that come along with it. And one thing we learn later on in Season 1 is that everybody does see the tree when they get stuck here, but not everybody sees the same tree necessarily, as we see the tree that the Matthews family got stopped at and the tree that Boyd's family got stopped at are two totally different trees. Could this mean there are multiple entrances into Fromville? It would make pretty sense, as most of the people who get stuck in this town seem to get stuck from totally different places in the real world. So multiple entrances would make sense. Up next, we have a little bit more of a cryptic one in a little boy and a little girl holding a dog in what looks to be the town. And at first glance, I thought maybe this could be the boy in white when he was human and someone else. But as the show continued to progress and the revelation of Victor's sister Eloise, maybe this could be young Victor and young Eloise when they were children. And who knows, maybe the dog originally belonged to them as kids. As when we see the night of the massacre, the next morning Victor wakes up, the entire town is dead, but the dog is still alive and with Victor. Up next, we have a drawing of what appears to be the little boy in white. But when you take a closer look, we can see his mouth is in the shape of a crow. And one thing the show has foreshadowed heavily is these crows, and we just don't know exactly what they are for yet. Could the crows potentially be some sort of surveillance system for the boy in white? Could he potentially watch the town through the eyes of these crows? Especially considering the very next drawing in the sequence is a bunch of crows. Up next, we see a drawing of a few houses, and nothing too mysterious here, just looks like a representation of a few of the houses inside the town. Then, of course, we see the famous diner, we all know what that is representing, followed by a drawing of Father Cautry's church, followed by a drawing of more houses inside the town. Then we get a pretty interesting one. We see a house inside the town with what looks to be weird arms reaching towards it. And I think I have an idea of what this could potentially represent, and it has to do with another drawing that will be coming pretty soon. Then we get one of the more mysterious ones in the intro sequence, and that is a little girl with no face, covered in blood, holding a teddy bear. And as far as I can tell, this is an event that has not happened on the show yet, as far as Season 1 and Season 2 go. I have a feeling this probably will be an event that will get revealed at some point later on down the line. Maybe this is the ultimate fate of Eloise, maybe she really died. When I saw the face missing, it kind of almost reminded me of Donna's sister, as Donna's sister had her face completely ripped off, but it seems to be a little too young to be a representation of Donna's sister. But I guess we'll have to wait and see what this one is. Up next, we have a representation of someone being killed by one of the monsters, as we can see the rib cage showing, which is pretty much how the monsters leave their victims, with their insides completely ripped open. Up next, we have another mysterious one of what looks to be a skeleton on fire. When I first saw this, I thought maybe this could potentially hint at a way to kill the monsters. Maybe fire will kill them. But then, after seeing Season 2, maybe this could be a representation of Smiley's body being burnt after they killed him. Up next, we see what looks to be a monster inside a little girl's room with a little girl hiding under the bed, and what looks to be a parent coming in trying to save them. And I get the feeling this could be a representation of when we see Megan get killed in Season 1, Episode 1. Or this could potentially be an event that has yet to be revealed on the show. Up next, we have one of the most mysterious drawings in all of the intro sequence, and that is the mysterious keyhole with the eye behind it. A purple eye, to be exact. And this one is definitely a little bit of a head scratcher. Nothing comes to mind right off the bat when I first saw this, although potentially, I guess, looking through the keyhole could potentially be a representation of the town under surveillance. It definitely seems like someone or something is watching the events of the town, as clearly at the end of season 1, whoever was on the other end of the radio not only knew Jim's name, but also knew that Tabitha was digging that hole in the basement, so it definitely seems like they are being watched by someone or something. I guess we'll have to keep an eye out for anyone with purple eyes in the future as well. The next two are pretty self-explanatory. It is another representation of the painting that Ellis drew in Ellis's room. The painting of Ellis and Fatima with a monster's hand reaching out towards them. Up next, we have another very interesting one. When I first saw this, I thought potentially maybe this could be a view from inside one of the faraway trees looking out, but seeing as the square looks a little too square to be an entrance to a faraway tree, I get the feeling this could be Boyd when he is trapped in the bottom of that well at the end of season 1. Up next, we have another kind of cryptic one. When I first saw this, I thought this could potentially be a representation of the boy in white again, but seeing as there probably already was a representation of the boy in white in the intro sequence, I get the feeling they probably wouldn't throw him in there twice. And then after seeing season 2 and seeing the Ankui children that Tabitha was plagued with, I get the feeling this could potentially be a representation of one of those children. It is incredibly pale like the Ankui children were as well. Up next, we have a drawing of what looks to be one of the monsters, and in particular, the Smiley monster, as it is clearly a red-haired monster, and it almost looks like this could potentially be the moment that Smiley died, because it almost looks like he has a cut throat here in this picture as well. So this very well could be a representation of the death of Smiley. And RIP to the Smiley monster, you will sorely be missed on the show going forward. And last, but certainly not least, probably one of the most mysterious ones in the intro sequence, we have this drawing. And I, for the life of me, cannot tell what this could potentially be. I get the feeling this is probably another event that hasn't happened yet. From certain glances, it almost looks like it could potentially be a crow's beak there in the middle, but it's really hard to tell. Definitely let me know in the comment section what you guys think this one represents. And all of them, for that matter. I would love to know what you guys think. But there you have it, folks, my tinfoil attempt to try and decipher some of the drawings that we get in the intro sequence of From. And it's definitely up there among my favorite intro sequences. Still to this day, I feel like I'm always picking up something new every time I watch it, and it's always a blast to try and figure out what these things mean. Leave your thoughts and comments down below, and if you like this video, don't forget to hit a like on your way out, subscribe, and hit that bell for notifications as we will be covering all things From. And don't forget to come and join us live every Saturday night at 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time for our Season 1 live rewatch party. And as always, I want to give a big thank you to everybody out there for watching, and a huge thank you to all of the channel members for supporting the channel. Keep those tinfoil hats on, folks, and I will see you on the next one.